Once upon a time, there were 3 bears. The large daddy bear, the medium-sized mummy bear, and the little baby bear. They lived together in a cute cottage in the forest and loved to have porridge for breakfast. One morning, while the porridge was cooling, they decided to go for a walk in the woods. Just after they set off, a little girl came across the house. Her name was Goldilocks because her locks, that is, her hair, were golden, or rather blonde, and Goldilocks sounds better than blonde hair for a name. This was a rather selfish little girl who took what she wanted and didn't care who she hurt in the process. No one knows how she came to be this way because her parents were lovely to her but didn't spoil her, and yet that was how she was. Anyway, when she saw the house, she could see through the window that there were bowls of porridge sitting on the table unattended. She happened to like porridge very much, so she knocked on the door to see if she could get an invite. However, as you know, the bears had gone out for a walk and the house was empty. That didn't deter little blonde hair. Since the door didn't have a Yale lock and the animals who lived in the forest didn't feel the need to bother with keys, she just let herself into the house. It may not have been breaking, but it was certainly entering without permission. She marched straight over to the table, picked up a spoon, and helped herself to a big mouthful of porridge from the largest bowl. "Ouch!" she cried, spitting it out. The porridge was far too hot. The bears had the wisdom to wait until it had cooled, but she didn't even give it a cursory blow before shoving it in her mouth, so no wonder she burnt herself. Undeterred, she thought to try the next bowl, just in case it was a different temperature. For some reason, it was. "Yuck!" she cried, dropping the bowl upside down onto the table. It was far too cold. Who likes cold porridge? Not Goldilocks, that's for sure. Thinking that the 3rd time's the charm, she went to the last bowl. Yummy, she purred. This one was just right. Not too hot, not too cold, but just how she liked it. She gobbled up the entire bowl very quickly. Feeling a bit of indigestion, she went to sit down in one of the chairs in the living room. Thinking herself to be very important, she immediately went to the biggest chair. "Ouch!" she cried. The chair was far too hard, and it almost gave her a bruise. She pushed it in frustration, making it topple over onto its side. She tried the next one. "Ah!" she cried, as she almost got swallowed up by the many cushions. This chair was far too soft and offered no lumbar support at all. When she managed to stand up again, she took the cushions off and threw them on the floor, just to spite them. The last chair was the smallest, and she rather gingerly approached it, but she needn't have worried because it was just right. "Ah," she purred, enjoying the soft yet firm ergonomic structure upon which she felt immensely comfortable. After sitting for a while, she heard a cracking sound, and suddenly the chair broke under her. Baby Bear was, as the name suggests, still just a baby, so he didn't weigh that much. And Goldilocks, although by no means fat, was a bit too heavy for that chair. Rather than worrying about having destroyed someone's property, she began to feel quite sleepy. Now, since she was trespassing, you'd think she'd leave and go home, but no. She went upstairs in search of the bedroom. She found 3 beds, all in a row. Having not learned a thing from her recent experiences, she tried the largest bed first, because she thought that it was for the most important person. "Ow!" she cried, because, you guessed it, it was too hard and very uncomfortable and gave her bruises in the most awkward of places. She pushed it in frustration, making it scrape along the floor and bang into the bedside table. She went to try the medium-sized bed. "Ah!" she cried as she thought she was going to fall right down to the floor because it was too soft to keep her in a supine position. After a struggle to get back on her feet and wrestle away all of the blankets, she threw the pillows across the floor, just to spite them. She then tried the smallest one. She purred. This was just right. The mattress was firm yet soft and provided just the right support for her spinal column. Soon, the only sound that could be heard was gentle snoring. At this point, the three bears returned from their walk, expecting to have a hearty breakfast. However, they were sorely disappointed. The front door had been left ajar, which was quite alarming, as they didn't know who or what was inside. They couldn't see anyone on the ground floor, so they went to the table. "Someone's been eating my porridge," said Daddy Bear, seeing the spoon in the bowl and the bits Goldilocks had spat out next to it on the table. "Someone's been eating my porridge," said Mummy Bear, noticing that the bowl had been dropped upside down on the table. "Someone's been eating my porridge and they ate it all up," said Baby Bear, who started to cry because he'd been looking forward to it. Mummy Bear immediately went to comfort her son, while Daddy Bear looked in the living room. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," said Daddy Bear, looking at his fallen Chesterfield. On hearing this, his family came over to see the damage. "Someone's been sitting in my chair," said Mummy Bear, picking up the cushions that were strewn all over the floor. "Someone's been sitting in my chair and broke it," said Baby Bear, who burst into tears because it was his favourite chair. Mummy Bear ran to comfort him again, while Daddy Bear got angry. "Right," he said. "Enough is enough. In fact, it's too much." He stomped upstairs to see if the intruder was there, and his wife and son followed him. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," said Daddy Bear, as he saw the scratches on the floor and the misplacement of the bed. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed," said Mummy Bear, and she started picking up the pillows and straightening the blankets. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and she's still here," said Baby Bear, too shocked to cry. Daddy Bear gave an almighty roar, which woke Goldilocks up with a start. She was shocked to see the bears in front of her and tried to stammer out an explanation, but her fear took away what little manners she had, and she slid out of bed, tiptoed to the bedroom door, then ran as fast as she could downstairs and out of the house. The bears all looked at each other in bewilderment. They didn't chase after her, but instead telephoned the police to explain what had happened. The policeman recognised Goldilocks' description and went round to her house. He told the girl's parents what she had done and told her that there would be severe consequences for her criminal actions. After a fair trial in which she admitted her guilt, she was sentenced to community service. She had to work in a soup kitchen and serve porridge that was just the right temperature to all of the impoverished creatures who lived in the woods. Between mealtimes, she was apprenticed to a carpenter to help her make chairs for baby animals to sit on, including a special one for Baby Bear. Finally, she went to night school to learn the economics of breakfast foods in a bid to understand why stealing the food from a child is just not on. Goldilocks was humbled by this education and experienced no recidivism after her sentence was up. Baby Bear and his parents recovered from their traumatic experience and got new locks fitted on their front door. And they all lived happily ever after. Until the wolf came along. But that's another story.